Welcome to Grace Among Us, the podcast where we unearth the many faces and places of grace and share stories of the power of grace in our human lives. Our desire is that this will inspire you to see grace in your own life and share it with others.
Hey, my name is Carrie Adcock. I'm a mentor with a passion for showing high achievers how to make space and enjoy the ride so that they can make the impact that their heart desires with their life back.
My name is Ebony Gilbert. I am partnering with Carrie to discuss grace and how it impacts our lives and how possibly it can provide you with some encouragement. By day, I am part of the corporate America gang and I work in the healthcare industry. And in my spare time, I get to hang out with Carrie and discuss how awesome and beautiful grace is.
And I also definitely enjoy spending time with my dear friend Ebony, talking about grace. So,
I always feel like when we do the intro, I'm supposed to say, I enjoy long walks on the beach and dinners on the pier.
my favorite food is, I do
I
not
prefer.
like, come get to know me.
Come on, take a walk with me.
Yeah. Well, I'm excited to see what shows up today.
Me too. Me too, because unlike some of the other sessions we've had, we don't really have a very defined path for this one. So we're going to see what happens. And I'm pretty excited about that.
Absolutely. Grace will fill the space.
Yeah, grace is in the gray.
There you go. There you go. Ta-da! All
It
right.
sounded much better in my head, Carrie.
All right. So we do have a question. So I'm going to ask it because you gave me the space to do it. So, Ebony, does grace ever sneak up on you?
Meaning unexpected.
Sure. Yes.
Let me think about this, and I'm going to talk through my thoughts as I'm processing it. I'd like to think that I am super humble and that I'm not entitled in life and that I don't just expect good things to happen to me, but that's not true, Carrie. The truth of the matter is I expect good. I expect blessings. I expect favor and grace because I know who provides it. And I know my Father's a constant in my life and he's not going to abandon or forsake me. Now, the flip side is my imagination, as wild and crazy as it is, isn't big enough to wrap around God's grace. So grace itself, I don't know if it sneaks up on me, but the way it shows up sneaks up on me. You know, it's this is a terrible example, but it's coming to mind, so I'm going to say it. I ordered an Uber to get to the airport last week. I got the economy one, the cheapest one, because it's a 25-minute ride. I didn't need anything fancy. The guy showed up in a luxury, all black vehicle. So I was expecting a vehicle with 4 tires and some air conditioning. I received a luxury premium vehicle and the guy came to the door to get my bags. So the expectation was there. It showed up so much bigger than what I expected. It showed up at a much higher value point than what I was putting into it. Now, obviously, grace is not an Uber car. But if I had to use the metaphor, I think there are times when how good it is, how the premier VIP service that it provides, that sneaks up on me often. Often, because I've got this small container that I'm trying to fit my blessing and my grace into because that's what I think I deserve. And then, boom, God blows my mind and something else shows up. That's what's coming to mind right now. But I'm going to think about it some more while you give me your answer.
I
Because,
love that.
you know, it's really an interesting question.
It is. It is. When what you were saying about grace is bigger. It's like I have an expectation, and based on my past, based on who I am, based on my experience, that's how I draw the image of what that expectation is.
Mm-hmm.
And grace is like, oh, God's like, oh no, watch this,
Mm-hmm.
watch how this happens. I have a friend who says, I bring a thimble and God asked me to back up the dump truck.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
It's like me, myself, and I here in this world is so limited. My ideas are limited, my pictures or images are limited,
Mm-hmm.
and there's nothing wrong with that. It's part of being human, but there is something bigger. And I love your interpretation of the question of how does it sneak up on you. Uh, the other way, or another way
Mm-hmm.
that I heard the question is, well, it's in line with what you're saying, but it's often I don't see the grace, I don't see it until after.
Mm.
Like, I don't always see it in the midst, especially if it's something that's near and dear to my heart. I'm a very, when I'm in my humanness, I'm very linear. I want to see all the steps, I
Mm-hmm.
want to see all the results. And when a result comes that I don't like, I can get very black and white. I'm like, oh my goodness, my life is over. I mean, I'm being
Mm.
a little dramatic, but oh my goodness, it didn't go the way that I envisioned. So something's wrong, I'm wrong, or I'm being punished in some way.
Because you're seeing it in a linear fashion, black and white. And back to my cheesy statement at the beginning, grace is in the gray.
Exactly. See? Absolutely. Absolutely. And so I have these experiences in life where it's like I'm being given what I need, and often it doesn't totally agree with what I want in that
Mm-hmm.
moment. But if I look at it over the long term, like it's always better. It's
Mm-hmm.
always the premium Uber, but I can't see it in the moment. So I so it's like later as I look back, it's like, oh, it snuck up on me this whole time. Right? There was another plan. There were things happening that are so far out of my purview, and I have to remember that,
Boy,
especially
okay.
especially when I'm in a painful situation. One of the greatest questions I have in my toolbox when I have a disappointment is, how can I be grateful for this? And for me, that's kind of opens the door. It's like opening the back door to grace.
Do you always have an answer for that?
Not immediately, no, no. However, what I've found is that it's a muscle. It's like a muscle. And if I'm willing to find something that it helps tremendously. I've also found that I don't have to be grateful for the situation. I have to
Mm-hmm.
find some mustard seed in the situation that I can be grateful for.
Mm-hmm. That's good. Yeah, slightly different interpretation of the question, but I love it. I like it a lot. Something that came to mind, a couple things came to mind while you were talking. Um, First thing directly related to the last thing you said about the question you ask yourself. I usually ask myself, how is this going to work together for my good? Because I firmly believe all things work together for my good because I love and I'm called according to his purpose. Like I believe that, and it's hard in the moment to see that. Really, really, really
Yes.
hard. So that's usually the question I ask. And sometimes it's not a question, sometimes it's a statement. This will work together for my good. Somehow, some way, at some point, this will come together. Can't see it, I can't feel it, but I have to believe that. So that's the first thing that came to mind. The second thing that came to mind was, I'm focused on the premium Uber. I think grace sneaks up on me in the small ways because it's not reserved for just the big monumental moments. It's the little stuff. I was totally convinced that, you know, this wasn't going to happen and I was gonna, run out of gas until blah blah blah. You insert whatever scenario you want. Something that you know is just going to happen. And then for whatever reason it doesn't. Or it doesn't go the way you thought it was going to go, and it works to your advantage. And I think those things happen often, and I just discount them as luck. What's luck? What is that? Or coincidence, and what is that? These words that have very interesting, in air quotes, meanings. But then the whole time it was really grace showing up, and I didn't see it, wasn't expecting it, because I thought that situation was too small to even include such a great concept of grace. When grace shows up in the black and white, it's sneaking up on me because I'm expecting it in the gray. I'm expecting it in the big. I'm expecting it in the ways that I'm praying for. The stuff I don't pray about, the stuff that's kind of on autopilot, the things that I think I have figured out. When it shows up there, that's when it's sneaky to me. I'm like, oh, this is good. I wasn't expecting this, but thank you. Those are the sneaky moments. Now that I'm thinking about it a little bit more, but I totally agree with you as well. In hindsight, it was there and didn't even know it was there the whole time.
Absolutely. Hindsight's 2020, right? I love that in the small stuff. I like the term ankle biters
Yeah,
because grace plays there too.
right.
And I also love, like, I love words. Like, words are very powerful. So I love that you said when we call it luck, air quotes,
Hmm.
when we call it coincidence, air quotes, or I also hear random,
Hmm.
right? There is this world, this everything is in perfect order.
Absolutely. Absolutely. You said ankle biters. I used to hike a lot, and I'd have all my gear, and I'd be worried about snakes and the big dangerous animals. Truth of the matter is, the ankle biters, the ticks, the fleas, the mosquitoes will drive you insane before a bear or a snake will ever drive you insane. So the ankle biters, those little things that you really don't pay a lot of attention to. Those are the things that could really make or break a day, you know?
Yeah.
So
I,
when grace shows up there, that's when I need it most. Because the truth of the matter is, Monday through Friday, I don't have too many catastrophic events happening on my calendar.
yeah.
It's the days when everything is a little bit off, or there's the nagging stuff repeatedly. Nothing big blew up. It's the little stuff. So, you know, grace showing up in the little stuff is that's really the gift.
Absolutely. And that's the work. Like for me, that's the work. The ankle biters, the day to
Mhm.
day. How do I be present? How do I be present to all the grace that is here all the time? Because like you said, when there's something catastrophic, like it's almost like I put my armor on, like it's like everything else falls away because it's so big. Like
Mhm.
I become present to this crisis because it's a crisis. But then all the other stuff, it's like, well, I can just go through the motions here. I know how to do this. I've done it 50 times, right? I've done it
Autopilot.
100 times. Autopilot, and that's where I miss all the cool stuff.
Hmm.
Because I can go through the motions Monday through Friday, Monday through Sunday, really.
So how do you disrupt the autopilot?
I be curious as much as I can. The first step in disrupting the autopilot is accepting that there is an autopilot. And paying attention. I had a suggestion a long time ago. I hated doing dishes. I just didn't like it. I didn't like anything about it. And
You
it's
like it
like,
now?
I do. I
You like washing dishes?
I like washing dishes. Now, do I want to become a professional dishwasher? Heck no. Do I want to do more dishes than I currently do? Not really, unless I'm having a dinner party. However, it's a practice for me to turn on the warm water, to pay attention to the smell of the soap. I have soap that I like the smell of, and to just pay attention to the dishes.
What's your favorite dish soap?
Well, I'm a purist. I don't know if this is purist. I like plain old Dawn because it
Blue Dawn.
Blue Dawn. Yes, it works well. It cuts the grease. Okay, Dawn. And I have this really nice lemon lavender hand soap that I use after to kind of finish off my sweet little hands that are washing dishes. And I think you can choose anything, any activity that you do, extra credit, any activity you do with angst, go be present to it.
And see how grace shows up.
I will say a little bit more about the dishes because I've been practicing this for a while. Some of I don't think this is a word, the funnest, some of the most fun ideas come when I'm washing the dishes these days. Like some people talk about shower moments, like you're in the shower, you're only focusing. I mean, you're kind of got to focus on what you're doing. You don't have to, but it's natural. You got the warm water and you get a download or an idea or something like that. Like you can use all activities, all kinds of activities to be open to what's bigger than you.
I agree. I agree. But I mean, to your point, you have to practice it. Like that's not a automatic thing.
No, it's absolutely not.
I'm gonna wash dishes tonight because I too use Blue Dawn. Okay,
Of
that's
course.
it. Total pure. Uh, and the smell of it, I like the smell of it. It like relaxes me instantly. That's a whole different story. But when I wash dishes tonight, I'm gonna be very present and I'm gonna try to enjoy the moment. I'm gonna download what I can, and I'll get back with you and let you know how that goes.
Oh, I look forward to it. And you know what? You just made me you sparked the idea. The question came of why do I love dawn? Like why do I like that smell? And what I can remember is being at my grandmother's house and she would put dawn and water in a pie plate and I had a bubble like a big round plastic thing and I would dip it in and I would make these giant bubbles. We always use Dawn.
Well, listen, use Dawn for everything. You remember those slip and slides, the big yellow things that you
Oh
put in the
yeah,
yard and you run and like totally dangerous, but you just
yeah.
run and slide. If you put a little bit of Dawn on
Mm,
it, man, you get traction like nobody's business. It's good stuff.
that is a hot tip. I did not. We were not that ahead of the game on the slip and slide. We had
Now
them.
you got bubbles and suds on you, for hours because that stuff doesn't just rinse off easily. But good stuff. Good stuff. Grace is in the dawn, I tell you, man.
So this is an example of grace sneaking up on us. So, Ebony, I've known you for a little while, right?
Mhm.
Not for a long while, but I've known you. And even in this conversation, it's like the grace of the, how do you say it? Like even more connection. Other, like, yes, just like me, Ebony likes
Yeah.
Blue Dawn. Just like me, she played on slip and slides at a higher level than me, and that's okay. Just like me. And that's like grace is like this great connector
Hmm.
too. I mean, we
Hmm.
are all connected, and if I don't slow down, like my humanness, or I don't even know what it is, it just wants to tell me that I am like my own little entity walking around this world, and
Hmm.
it's kind of lonely.
Absolutely. I mean, I think that's what we're trying to do here is provide some synergy around. You're not that different, just like me, just like you. We need this. I listen. I have never been so excited to hear somebody say they use Dawn, um, because I know what it means to me. When I left Florida and I moved to Tennessee, the job I left got me a box of Dawn, and it was kind of the running joke because they knew how much I liked it.
Oh my
So
God.
Don's a pretty big deal in mine. Okay, Don, you hear us? Don, you hear us? But the just how cool is that? Because all these years I was thinking I'm a weirdo, and we're getting some synergy around something as simple and meaningless, seemingly meaningless as Dawn, to paint a picture for how you disrupt the autopilot, how you really can be present doing just about anything and be triggered in that moment to action, to thought, to be disruptive of that auto black and white space. So very cool. Very cool.
I love it. Absolutely. And it's this world is so big. It's so vast. It's so like you said, what is your when I ask the question, can I be grateful for this? You say, how can this all come together for my good? Is
Hmm.
that yeah. It's God uses everything. Every single thing.
Absolutely. Sometimes it helps me to realize that maybe what's going on with me is coming together for somebody else's good too. That I'm part of a bigger tapestry,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
Um, and that feels good. That feels good. Because even if I can't identify how it's going to help me, I at least want to think that someone else is watching or hearing and they're going to get something out of it. Because none of us are in our own little cocoon.
Mhm.
So I hope that the grace that flows through me helps to trickle into someone else's bubble and then trickle to someone else's bubble, and it starts this whole spiral cyclone of grace that's just touching down. Imagine a tornado that's just spinning in the air, then it touches down here and it touches down there and it touches here. And it's collecting more momentum as it touches down because it's being fueled by this story and that story and dawn. And like that's super cool.
It is. It is, and that's another image of grace sneaking up on me or
Mhm.
anybody, or grace sneaking up is like when you hear hey, I heard you say X, Y, and Z, and this is what happened for me. And that's that you can never, like, I can never make that happen. I'm not here with the intention that's what's gonna happen. Does that make sense?
Mhm.
But it's almost like this little, like, oh, here I am. See? To your point, it's contagious, and it's not all about me. Very little to do with me.
So it does sneak up. And we could be excited about when it sneaks up, as well as when we're expecting it and it's big.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. Any final thoughts on that, Carrie?
No, no. Yes. Yes. No. Yes. No. I don't know. No, really. Off the last thought I have is that when like what the question was, what is my response when I see it sneak up on me? And in general, my response is like, yes, there it is, or wow, that's cool. And it's not often followed by action. It's more just appreciation. And I'd love to talk next time about when grace prompts action.
Yeah. Yeah. Because it can move you. Yeah. It can move you.
Yeah.
Right there with you. Let's talk about it next time.
Okay.
I'm immediately seeing the cyclone. I'm seeing the people mover in the airport. I'm seeing all these things happening as you're saying that. I'd love to dig more into it.
Okay. Awesome. Any last thoughts for you?
However it shows up, whether it's a surprise or not, I'm pretty happy to see it. The flowers that I'm expecting are just as pretty as the flowers that show up unexpected. Like the matter of fact, the unexpected flowers tend to make me a little bit happier because I wasn't even thinking that was coming to me. So however it shows up, I welcome it. And I would encourage everyone else to just be open to the idea that it'll knock on your door when you least expect it. And what a gift.
Absolutely.
What a gift.
What a great way to close today. So to all out there, thank you so much for listening. Please come listen again. And if you have any questions about grace or feedback from this podcast, please let us know.
Grace out.
Thank you so much for joining us. If you enjoyed this episode, please let us know. We love to hear from you, and share it with a friend. Also, please be sure to subscribe so you're notified when a new episode is posted. We hope you're leaving with another pointer to grace, a new perspective that will light it up in your own life. Until next time, be well, be bold, be kind to yourself, and be on the lookout.